The one thing that I try to look into is look from a diverse standpoint, and I still need work on this. So if you guys want to give me any feedback related to what information would like to be included and everything, please tell me. But the investment potential goes like this. Couple of weeks ago, our chat and I created a list of questions we ask when we want to invest in a company, and I took a couple of them, combined couple, and came up with this. The first question is, as always, is the CEO pretty? The reason why I keep continuing with this question is not just saying if the CEO is actually physically pretty, but if they don't have any scary backgrounds of like, oh, they were actually like murderers, so kind of did their research on what the person does. So currently the CEO is this person, a man Bhutani. So a little history about him was interesting because that's all he had on his LinkedIn. So he was just a board member from the New York Times company, and then suddenly the CEO of GoDaddy. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. Very interesting. Maybe there's some more, right? So I looked into Fortune 500. This was a bit better, where he got his education back in India, but their MBA in Lancaster University Management School. He became the senior vice president in 2010, and then president of brand, and then he went into the CEO position from 2019 in September to present time. So roughly like almost 2 years coming up. A year and like couple months. So he seems like a reliable person, but what I really liked about the current GoDaddy and their rebranding is that not only does he list about himself and who's the CEO, but other position, like there was the CFO, there's the CCO, CPO, all the C positions, so all the high level position, and not just the leadership team, but also the board of directors. So it really got me interested in seeing what type of businesses they were looking into. Like some people were in the LinkedIn, like we have this CEO at LinkedIn of their board of directors, like PayPal, some like there's some investors, like AppLovin Corporation president, there's the Silver Lake, which makes sense, like the financial officer. My next question that I found interesting was that how do they make money? Obviously domains, as you guys might know. So I brought roughly their balance sheet. The few things to look into was the revenue. Their domain is roughly 422 millions, which I didn't know that's how much domains cost. Obviously, a lot of people did purchase their domains, which makes sense. Hosting was a bit below their domains, and their business application, which means any other side product related to buying the domains, such as the web page making service that they provide, or allowing them to use the Office 365, that goes under the business applications, wasn't as much as they probably wanted to be. So I think they're trying to transition their business, because once you buy a domain, obviously it's a year-long business or year-long payment, but it's not going to be that much. So they would rather have people use other type of products within their company, and that's what they're trying to push at. But it's not going probably to where they're thinking about going. So like I said, 4 methods of how they earn money is the domain name service, the web hosting, so the VPS dedicated server hosting opportunity, the web presence, basically that's the website builder, the digital marketing online store builder, web security products. And the business application, like I just mentioned, was the email hosting, the email marketing, and other relevant business tools. So that was kind of like the statistics of how much it costs for a 1-year contract for renewal. $9-ish for a month for the economy, but there are other sites, if you get like $25, like I guess that goes a lot. But the next thing I would be interested in looking into was partners and competitors. Obviously, Microsoft is up there because they get to use the Office 365. I don't know if it's partner, but probably Microsoft allows their products to be used. They do the managed WP. Other companies are actually, they acquire them. So when I looked up these companies, they were more towards the email services or marketing service, website building, website making. So a lot of those like small companies, they decided to acquire them and use their tools. So they should be embedded in GoDaddy. This is actually a couple of their competitors. Like I said, we mentioned the network solution, Dotster and Enom, which is still being used. Another popular one is HostGator, which I've never heard of, and Namecheap, which I bought my domain from. So compared to like other companies, I personally think that makes GoDaddy more likable is that they are public, so that, you know, they can't scam you guys. But I haven't really found the difference of why this should be used compared to others. So then what I did was I looked at the customer standpoint, basically looked at bunch of reviews on what people think about GoDaddy, and obviously there were like, you know, it's reliable, obviously it is. They're in the top 10 web hosting service provider. Most of their feedback, their uptime is positive, speed tests are okay, it's like quick, blah blah blah. JinriCo, this guy gave him like a 3 out of 5 stars, so it was like, nah, it's not that bad, but it's like worth, you know, if you wanted to use it, you can use it. And it's been always in the top 10s. But the thing is, like, this guy was like, you know, top 5, it's mainly used. They have 77 million domains out there for 18 million customers. I guess 1 million did increase. There's wide variety of popular domains being used, and it's really easy and everything. But if you have, like, yes, you should use it, there's always why you should not use it. And kind of reading through both, I think the one that's really stood out to me of why you should use GoDaddy compared to the other one was the fact that obviously they're public. They have long history of being a website hosting company, so that's very important. Not always a company that's old is a good thing, but they still know like what's very important to do. But some of the bad things that they pointed out was that they actually spend a lot of money on advertising. I bet because of the Super Bowl ads, and that like they do, this other guy or this other girl, Kelly, she actually looked into some of the payments. They actually scam you, saying there's like hidden fees where you don't really have to pay for these other websites, but you pay for this on GoDaddy, and like be very analytical. But it ends up, you know, like the conclusion that I'm gonna make of GoDaddy is it really is based on your choice of like, do you prefer the site or not? But personally, when I was going through it, it was very interesting. Obviously, not the ideal type for me of how they got popular was through Super Bowl, not by how their business is and how, like, you know, GoDaddy is like the best domain website that you guys should buy. But, you know, Super Bowl is another way of marketing, and it worked perfectly fine for them. People still know what GoDaddy is, and when you guys think about GoDaddy, you're going to be like, oh, that place that has like the craziest Super Bowl ads. Maybe we should look into seeing what they are. And then, like, the girl obviously is shaking her boobs and saying, it's a website holder. So you get, like, it's a good marketing skills, and people shouldn't, like, look bad into it that much. But it was definitely a complete different from what I've learned so far about all the other companies. So that was it for GoDaddy. So yeah, that's all. Thanks, guys.